10 years into my marriage, I suddenly woke up as my 18-year-old self. I immediately hopped on a train and traveled over 1,500 miles to find my husband. But when he saw me, his face was a mask of indifference. My heart sank. He'd always told me it was love at first sight. But as I turned to leave, I overheard him talking to his best friend. "Quick, is my hair a mess?" I was so nervous I barely moved. "I think I'm in love." As the train slowly pulled into H City, my palms started to sweat. I was about to see the 18-year-old version of Howard, and I was a little nervous. Howard and I had been married for 10 years. We were an old married couple. That morning, as he was dropping me off at work, he'd magically produced a necklace and a huge bouquet of roses. "Ta-da! Happy 10th anniversary, honey. We're at your office. I'll take you for hot pot after work." The years had made him more mature, but he was still the same goofy guy I married. I smiled, exasperated, and leaned in for a goodbye kiss. But the next thing I knew, my mom was ripping the covers off me. "It's the crack of dawn, what are you doing smooching Coco's head?" Coco was my cat, who had the calm demeanor of a wise old dog. He was currently staring at me with a look of utter despair. A few damp patches stood out on his fluffy head. "You were having a weird dream again," my mom said, disgusted. She plucked Coco from my arms and started drying his head with a towel. It took me all morning to process the fact that I had traveled back to my 18-year-old body. Using the excuse of wanting to check out my future college, I got on a train to find Howard all by myself. In my past life, I met him in college. He was a local and a sophomore, 2 years older than me. He was an orientation volunteer helping with the new students. The moment I saw him, I was completely smitten. I chased him for a whole year before he finally agreed to go out with me. The train pulled into H City. It was summer, and the trees were lush. Sunlight filtered through the deep green leaves, feeling warm and comfortable. I knew this city like the back of my hand. After all, I'd lived here for over a decade. I checked a few of the places Howard used to hang out, but I couldn't find him. Something was wrong. I'd spent a year chasing him, so I knew all his favorite spots. Where could he be? I wandered around near the university, luggage in tow, and pulled out my phone. I typed in a number, hesitating to press call. Suddenly, I bumped into someone and my phone clattered to the ground. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." The person who picked up my phone handed it to me. His voice was familiar. It was Sam, Howard's best friend. Which meant, the person next to him was Howard. Oh my God, ha. It's not that I didn't recognize him, it's just that they were both rocking the same ridiculously spiky, gelled-up hairstyle. They looked like total try-hard. I could forgive Sam, but Howard was always so particular about his appearance. Why would he do this to himself? Sam was chattering on, apologizing profusely, while Howard next to him was unusually quiet. "You don't recognize me?" I asked, looking at him with a puzzled expression. "I've never seen you before," Howard replied coolly. "Well, do you feel anything when you look at me?" I pressed, refusing to give up. This time, Howard just turned his head away without a word. A wave of bitterness washed over me. I'd been on a train for a day and a night, dying to see him. After all, we'd been married for 10 years, from a campus romance to a wedding dress. We were the couple everyone envied. I wanted to see the look of surprise on Howard's face when he saw his 18-year-old wife. I was prepared for him to have no memory of our future. So what if he didn't remember? He was my man, and I'd just have to win him over again. A strong woman never backs down. But his current attitude, a mix of avoidance and disdain, was seriously bumming me out. Howard coughed a couple of times, signaling to Sam that it was time to go. "Well, we'll get going then," Sam said, quickly following him. I opened my mouth, but I couldn't bring myself to say his name. Whatever. I should probably find a place to stay first and get settled. But then I heard their voices coming from around the corner of the alley. "Howard, what's up with you? You're walking like a robot." Your arms and legs are all out of sync. And your face is so red. You getting heatstroke? It was a moment before Howard's voice, full of awkwardness, finally emerged. Sam, quick, is my hair a mess? I was so nervous I barely moved. I think I'm in love. Curious, I peeked around the corner. In the alley, Sam had his arm around Howard's shoulder, analyzing the situation. Dude, you fallen for her? The stone has finally cracked. A rare sight indeed. Pfft, ha ha ha. Sam suddenly burst out laughing at some private joke. What's so funny? Howard asked, confused. Dude, you're so screwed. Sam was laughing so hard he had to bend over. Did you forget what we're wearing today to back up my little cousin? The spiky hair, the joggers, the loafers. It's a total fashion disaster. That girl would have to have the weirdest taste in the world to fall for a guy who looks like this. Ha ha ha, Howard's face grew darker. Sam wisely shut his mouth and started trying to be encouraging. Hey, don't lose hope, man. You've still got it. Weren't you on that campus heartthrob list last year? And if that doesn't work, you've got me. I've studied the art of war since I was a kid. They call me Sam the Love Guru. The three sworn brothers of old pledged to live and die together. Today, I, Sam the Love Guru, will be your strategist. I can move heaven and earth for a brother. With me, you've got this in the bag. Crap. We didn't get her number. Let's go back, quick, before she gets too far away and we lose her. Hearing them start to come back, I quickly took a couple of steps back, pretending I had just turned down the alley. Oh, hey, what a coincidence. Fancy seeing you guys again. Before they could say anything, I jumped in, acting surprised. After a bit of explaining, I pretended I was a freshman in the art department, new to the city, trying to rent an apartment, but my realtor had bailed on me. All alone, helpless, and pitiful. I laid it on thick. Sam's eyes lit up, and he started shooting frantic glances at Howard. This is your moment, bro. Howard stepped forward, his voice as gentle and polite as it was when I first met him in our past life. Hi, we're sophomores here. He had already smoothed down his spiky hair, and though it was still a bit messy, he was so handsome it didn't even matter. Is that okay? I was so mesmerized that I only caught the last part of his question. He was offering to help me find a place to rent since they knew the area around campus well. I looked at Howard's expectant face. Really? Would that be too much trouble? I widened my eyes, looking as innocent as possible. A 30-year-old woman playing an 18-year-old girl. Sigh. Life is hard. No trouble at all, freshman, Howard said, his eyes brightening when I agreed. I pursed my lips. That was exactly what I was waiting for. Thanks, you guys. I'm Christina. Just call me Christina. At their strong insistence, we first went to a mall to get them some new clothes before looking for an apartment. Howard came out of the dressing room first. The simple white t-shirt he was wearing made him look tall and elegant, with a scholarly air about him. So handsome. I wanted to kiss him. In my past life, even after we were married and had our arguments, one look at Howard's handsome face and my anger would instantly vanish. I always loved sneaking a kiss on his cheek when he wasn't looking. Snapping back to reality, I saw Howard standing off to the side, gazing up at the sky at a 45-degree angle. Wow, so effortlessly cool. I pretended not to see him. When Sam came out, I just started walking toward the exit. That's what he gets for being so cold to me earlier. In my past life, I foolishly chased him for a year. It was only after we were married that I found out the punk had fallen for me long ago but was too scared I wouldn't cherish him if he agreed too easily. This time around, I was going to make Howard chase me for at least a few months before I said yes. Howard, let's go. What are you doing? Sam caught up to me, dragging a dejected-looking Howard with him, muttering about how Howard was clueless about chasing girls. As we walked, Sam tried to break the ice. Huh, You weren't scared of us, even when we were dressed like that? Thinking we were bad news or something. Actually, it was for my little cousin's school festival. We had to role play. We don't normally dress like that. Especially my buddy here. He's super conscious of his image, a model student, a total good guy. He's even one of our school's campus heartthrobs. Just look at this face, am I right? Seeing that Howard was staying silent, Sam grabbed him and practically presented him to me, showing off his godlike features. I couldn't help but laugh at Howard's bewildered expression. Howard struggled free from Sam's grasp, the tips of his ears turning bright red. He finally started talking to me, his eyes crinkling into crescents when he smiled. Every little expression was exactly my type. I want to kiss him. The two of them were very efficient and quickly found a suitable apartment for me. They said it was a great deal, cheap rent, nice environment, close to campus, a 2-bedroom. It was like it was made just for me. When we got there, I took one look and my face fell. Isn't this the same apartment I rented in my past life? You sly dog, Howard. You kept that secret well. Back then, I moved off campus to make it easier to chase him. I remember thinking how lucky I was to randomly find such a perfect place, great price, nice, close to school, and I was always bumping into my crush, Howard. It was only later that I found out the building belonged to him, and he lived on the floor right above me. My roommate, Tina, was the one who told me about the apartment. I never suspected that Howard had already infiltrated my inner circle back then. This place is great, what do you think? Howard, as if worried I wouldn't like it, started listing all its benefits again. Sam stood beside him, grinning like a con artist. Of course, I said yes. Why wouldn't I live in such a great place? After unpacking my things, I went downstairs to buy some daily necessities. I ran into Howard and Sam, who hadn't left yet. They were standing shoulder to shoulder, whispering about something. Dude, this move was brilliant, right? Proximity is key. Living so close to her, how can you not get a chance? Good thing I think fast. You owe me a barbecue for this. What if she finds out? Will she be mad? Howard, a guy who was usually so confident and capable, now looked troubled. Dude, I'll teach you 3 killer moves. I guarantee you'll win her over, Sam interrupted him. The first move is called creating the opportunity. In warfare, you gotta know when to advance and when to retreat. It's the same with love. The girl is new here, doesn't know anyone. You have to actively create chances to make her feel welcome and cared for. Then you see how she reacts. The two walked further away, and I stood behind them, thoroughly entertained. No wonder everything felt so smooth in my past life. It was just that the guy I was chasing would act so weird sometimes, hot and cold. Turns out he had a wannabe dating coach pulling the strings. In my past life, I chased Howard for a year. This time, I was curious to see how Mr. Sophomore, with his expert guidance, was going to chase a girl. For the next week, I coincidentally ran into Howard every time I left the house. I'd see him on my morning run, at lunch, even when I was just taking out the trash. I was starting to suspect he'd installed a motion sensor on my door. And the crazy part was, Howard would act all casual every time. Fancy seeing you here, freshman. In my past life, I was the one always saying that. Now the roles were reversed. I always had to suppress a laugh when I responded. I was getting impatient waiting for Howard to make a real move. Finally. A message from Howard popped up on my phone. Hey, freshman. I have 2 tickets to an art exhibit downtown. Want to go together? An art exhibit? What a coincidence. In my past life, I had also invited Howard to an art exhibit. Thinking back, I only got the idea because Tina happened to have 2 extra tickets, and I'd heard that Howard liked art. It was so obvious. How did I not see it in my past life? I shook my head and smiled to myself. How can a person use the exact same moves whether they're the chaser or the one being chased? I accepted the invitation. The next second, he replied, "Great. I'll wait for you downstairs tomorrow." The next day, when I got to the meeting spot, I saw Howard waiting for me. Sunlight dappled his brow, and the hem of his shirt fluttered in the breeze. He looked so good it made my heart skip a beat. The moment I saw him, my heart fluttered. I used to think of him as the gentle upperclassman type, but seeing him now, he was just brimming with youthful energy. Especially after being married to the cool, composed, 30-year-old version of him for a decade, going out with the younger Howard felt like I was cheating. This was technically our first date since I came back. I should document it. Without a word, I raised my phone and snapped a picture of the waiting boy, saving it to my notes app. I edited the caption, "First date with my crush heart emoji." Throughout the day, Howard went from being a little stiff and awkward to relaxed and comfortable. It felt like we were back in our marriage, taking leisurely strolls and visiting art exhibits together. At the exhibit, we often found ourselves agreeing on things. Howard praised my insightful commentary. Well, of course. We spent 10 years visiting countless art exhibits together. Howard expertly held the umbrella for me. When I finished my ice cream, he pulled out an alcohol wipe for my hands. His backpack was like Mary Poppins' bag. I couldn't help but tease him. "You really came prepared, Howard. Your ex-girlfriend must have been really happy." Under the sun, the tips of the boy's ears turned red as he rushed to explain, "I've never had a girlfriend before. But when I'm with you, I just feel like these are things I should do. So, I do them." I knew that, of course. It was the same in our past life. It was these little details during my pursuit of him that made me fall for him, head over heels. And Howard never disappointed me. For 10 years of marriage, he was consistently wonderful. That was the confidence that made me come looking for him the moment I traveled back in time. After he walked me home, I looked down from my balcony. Sure enough, a few moments later, Howard snuck back into the building, and I heard sounds from the apartment above. I leaned against the balcony, reminiscing about all the little moments between me and Howard. Behind me, the orange and purple clouds melted into the sky. I pulled out my phone and, on a whim, sent Howard a message. "The clouds are beautiful tonight." I heard his balcony door slide open. We were now less than 3 feet apart, separated only by the floor. A moment later, he replied with a very serious, scientific explanation. "They are. There's more moisture in the air here in the south. When the setting sun's rays hit the clouds, the red light scatters, forming these sunset clouds." You idiot. What I meant was, I really miss you right now. At the school's track and field meet, Howard signed up for the men's 5,000-meter race. I was surprised when I heard the news. This guy? Running a 5K? It's not that I looked down on him, but in our past life, Howard was always the academic type. After graduation, he went straight into a PhD program and spent all his time in a lab. Why would he suddenly decide to run a 5K? Could it be? As I was pondering this, Howard waved at me from the starting line in the stands below. I made a go for it gesture back at him. He looked good on the track. Very handsome. The starting gun fired. He looked great. But as the laps added up, he started to fade. His pace slowed. To figure out what was going on, I went over to where Howard had left his phone while he was still running. After a moment of hesitation, I picked it up. In our past life, Howard gave me a birthday gift. When I pressed him, he admitted he'd found out my birthday not long after meeting me. He even set his phone passcode to my birthday. 0905. I typed it in. It unlocked. A quick search of his messages revealed the truth. It was a chat history with Sam. Howard, next move, play hard to get. Chasing a girl is all about timing. If you're too clingy, it'll just annoy her and make you seem insincere. You have to keep a little distance, show some vulnerability, and make her come to you, make her step into your world and care about you. The school sports meet is coming up. Perfect timing. Sign up for the 5K, win first place, then show her your weaker side. She'll be so worried about you, it's a guaranteed win. And below that was Howard's reply, okay. So that was it. On the track, the race was nearing its end. A few of the other runners had already finished, but Howard was still going. Sam was pacing frantically on the sidelines. When Howard ran by, he waved his hands wildly. A little weakness. A little. Dude, you look like you're about to die. It's over, it's all over. Huh, these two. Are they drunk? And who would actually fall for such a ridiculous seduction tactic? One of them was crazy enough to suggest it, and the other was crazy enough to believe it. Idiots. The 5K was almost over. I stood up. What for? To catch that idiot, of course. Howard was a brilliant student, a genius when it came to dealing with people, but when it came to chasing girls, he was as dense as a rock. After we got married, though, he seemed to have unlocked some hidden talent and improved at lightning speed. He was always clinging to me, spouting sweet nothings effortlessly. But he never made empty promises. His paycheck was in my account the second he got it. He always did more than he said. And I never even had to ask him for any of it. I used to tease him, asking if he was worried people would laugh at him for being whipped. He would rest his head on my shoulder and say, "These are all things I want to do. I want to take care of you, I want to solve your problems, I want to surprise you and see you happy. I want to give you the best of everything I have." I supported Howard as he stumbled off the track. The boy's face was flushed from the intense exertion, and his breathing was ragged and uncontrolled. He tried to keep his distance, not wanting to lean his weight on me. I'm all sweaty. I'm gross. I grabbed his arm. It's okay. I don't mind. At my words, the boy's face turned an even deeper shade of red. I came in second to last. It's okay. I like smart guys. Huh. I started to walk away, but Howard grabbed my arm. Where are you going? Don't go. You're too dumb. Seeing his completely bewildered expression, I reassured him. I'm going to buy water. You rest here for a bit. Hearing that, Howard finally relaxed his grip and let me go. But when I got back, I heard Sam talking to Howard about something again. As I got closer, I heard them scheming. Dude, your first two moves were epic fails. This isn't looking good. At this rate, we're in trouble. But, she helped me just now, and she went to get me water. She doesn't do that for anyone else. Doesn't that mean she cares about me? Howard said, his face flushing. That's all superficial, man. You've already lost your edge. If you don't make a big move soon, it's gonna be too late. So what should I do? Trust me, Howard. I have one last trick up my sleeve. This one is guaranteed to work. Sam said, thumping his chest. This final move is called turning the tables. Going from passive to active. Seeing that Howard was about to be completely duped, I couldn't help but step in. Hey. Yes, that's it. Howard, how did you know what I was going to say? You're learning so fast. You've got this. But I didn't say anything. The two of them whipped their heads around and saw me standing right behind them. Christina, what are you doing here? In our past life, Sam was always Howard's armchair general. He had a couple of tricks up his sleeve, but only a couple. He was a self-proclaimed relationship guru. He preached about pacing, not agreeing too quickly, and using roundabout strategies. He had a whole set of theories that had Howard completely convinced. He used the same formula for everything. When he was in his 30s, he gave an old man in our neighborhood the exact same 3 tips for chasing after a granny. I shoved the water bottle into Howard's hands and turned to leave. He believed everything anyone told him. When was he ever going to grow out of that? For the next week, I did nothing but go to class. I turned down all of Howard's invitations. Howard sensed something was wrong. He sent me texts, but I just replied politely. A week went by. Howard hadn't come to his senses, and I, in my distraction, had caught a cold. It started with just a scratchy throat. I called in sick and went home to rest, sleeping fitfully through the afternoon. In a hazy, half-asleep state, I felt a headache coming on, but I couldn't get up. I heard a knock at the door. I stumbled over to open it, managed to throw myself onto the sofa, and then blacked out. When I woke up again, I found Howard sitting by my bed. There was a cool towel on my forehead. His hair was soft and fluffy, and I couldn't resist reaching out to touch it. It felt just as good as I'd imagined. In my past life, when we first got together, I had chased him for a whole year. At the beginning, I was too shy to be bold. Even though I was dying to touch his hair, I never did. Later on, Howard got a haircut. It was much shorter, which gave him a sharper, more intense look. He was still handsome, of course. But it just wasn't the same to run my fingers through. Even after we were married and I'd playfully mess up his hair, I'd always find myself missing his old hairstyle. This time, I finally got to touch it. Howard's fingers twitched. He was about to wake up. A little disappointed, I pulled my hand back. You're awake. Are you still feeling sick? Howard asked, a suspicious blush creeping across his face. Was he sick too? Thanks for coming to see me, Howard, I said, my voice a little hoarse. I heard from your classmate that you called in sick. I was worried, so I came to check on you, Howard explained, standing up. You should get some rest. Howard said this and turned to leave. You're just going to leave like that? You're not going to sit and chat for a while? I wanted to flirt with him, but as soon as he sat down, he started telling me jokes. Seriously, where did he learn this stuff? He was so earnest in his delivery that I didn't have the heart to interrupt him. He told me stories from his childhood. He said his family didn't really like him when he was a kid. Even though he was an only child. He said he was always walking on eggshells at home. It made him think he had an illegitimate brother somewhere out there. I shook my head, exasperated. I knew what story was coming next. Howard was an only child, the only male heir for 3 generations. How could his family not adore him? When he was little, he was helping his grandpa feed the fish. Being a lively kid, he climbed into the ecological tank his grandpa had spent 2 years cultivating and started playing with the fish. He ended up falling asleep in there. When his grandpa found him, he fainted on the spot. When he woke up, he chased Howard for 2 blocks. The kid held a grudge, but he never remembered the reason why. I reached out and placed my hand on his. The boy's hand had well-defined knuckles. It was beautiful. I wanted to kiss it, but I was afraid of scaring him. Beside me, Howard's ears were red. He stammered his way into the next story. He told me about how he got a beating for making his own bubble solution as a kid. He'd always thought his parents were just really strict. It wasn't until he was older that he learned he hadn't known how to read yet and had mixed pesticide into the solution. Listening to the same stories as in my past life, I still couldn't help but laugh. Are you feeling better? Howard took a sip of water. His lips were moist and glossy. They looked incredibly good. I was mesmerized. I want to kiss him. And so, I did. It was just a light peck on the corner of his mouth, but Howard's face exploded in a blush, and he scrambled out the door. Well, okay. Maybe Howard did have some athletic talent after all. Meanwhile, a dazed Howard was walking back to campus, touching the corner of his mouth, when he ran into Sam. Howard. How'd it go? Did you go see her? I haven't even told you the details of the final move yet. Howard started to realize something was off. He stared at Sam suspiciously. Sam, you. What is it, man? Dude, do you even have a girlfriend? Sam stammered. A coach doesn't play the game, you know that. Seeing the doubt on Howard's face, Sam quickly explained. I may not have personal experience, but I have plenty of battlefield experience. All the guys in our dorm, I was the one who coached them, step by step. After I kissed him, I didn't see Howard for several days. I even staked out his apartment but couldn't catch a glimpse of him. Until one day. Sam organized a group trip to go hiking and watch the sunrise. There were 5 or 6 of us, and he invited me along. He said Howard would be there, so I agreed to go. The whole way up the mountain, Howard followed a short distance behind me. He did whatever I asked and took my bag without a word when I handed it to him. He carried his camera, taking pictures of the scenery the whole way. He didn't say a single word to me, not even when we reached the summit. What was his deal? I stood on a higher step, looking down at him as he focused on taking a picture of a flower. As he came around a bend, I grabbed him, pulled him close, and kissed him. Howard instinctively tried to protect his camera, struggling for a second. But when he saw it was me, his ears turned beet red. He didn't pull away, but his hands were clenched tightly at his sides. After a few moments, Howard's breathing became ragged, and his face was flushed. He wanted to push me away, but his hands just rested on my waist, unable to make the next move. Youth is so different. He was so much purer than the old pro he would become. I pulled back slightly, my nose brushing against his. You're not going to hide from me anymore? So, Mr. Sophomore, will you take a picture for me? Okay. Howard, let's take a picture together. Before Howard could agree, I took his hand. This time, Howard didn't pull away, but his entire face turned a shade of red I could see even in the dim light. He took his camera and pulled me into a corner. You. Why did I kiss you? I asked, fiddling with the camera, wanting to see the picture we just took. Not bad. We looked good. Beside me, a blushing Howard managed an I've been wanting to for a long time. Before I traveled back, we had a good morning kiss every single day. I'd been deprived for over 2 months. He was being so slow and indecisive. I just couldn't take it anymore. Considering how well he treated me in our past life, I guess I could forgive his childish behavior this time around. Sam's trip was an overnight one. He'd found some random mountain in the middle of nowhere in the next city over, but the view was actually pretty amazing. We set up camp for the night, and we'd all agreed to wake up for the sunrise the next morning. I remember something like this happening in my past life, too. I had only joined the trip because I heard Howard was going. I'd forgotten the details, but I vividly remembered the way the rising sun glinted off his gold-rimmed glasses, his eyes impossibly gentle. It had completely dazzled me. Today had been a huge step forward, and I was eagerly awaiting the next morning. I never expected to be woken up by a sharp pain in the middle of the night. My roommate, Tina, heard me stirring. What's wrong? She asked. My stomach hurts. I think my period's coming early. Your face is completely white. I'll go ask if anyone has anything. A little while later, Tina came back. She was holding a bag filled with an assortment of pads and tampons. You borrowed all of this? Did you rob a convenience store? Tina explained something, but I was in too much pain to hear what she was saying. After getting myself sorted, I drifted back into a groggy sleep. It wasn't a restful sleep. Half awake, I saw the glow of Tina's phone. It looked like she was texting someone. The next time I opened my eyes, I heard a voice calling my name. Christina, wake up. Take this painkiller first. Howard's forehead was beaded with sweat. What are you doing here? The pain in my stomach was intense, and my voice was hoarse. There's no pharmacy on the mountain. Howard ran all the way down to buy some for you, Tina chimed in. You two lovebirds stay here. The sun's about to come up. I'm going to watch the sunrise, she said as she got up. Howard, you went all the way down the mountain? Was it dark? The place we'd chosen had a beautiful view, but there was no lit path for night hiking and no quick way down. Which meant Howard had climbed all the way down, step by step, and then rushed all the way back up. You idiot. What if something had happened to you? People go missing in the mountains every year. I was scared. This was all Sam's fault for picking such a godforsaken place. Howard handed me the medicine and a cup of hot water. Take this first. My stomach was killing me, and I didn't have the energy to argue. I held out my hand to him. I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. Let me hug you. We both spoke at the same time. Howard paused, then stepped forward. I opened my arms and pulled him into a hug, taking in the cool, crisp scent of him. Howard, are you an idiot? I asked, my voice muffled. Going down the mountain in the pitch black, I would have been so worried if you got hurt. I knew Howard did it for me, but I was still terrified of losing him. Suddenly, it didn't matter who confessed to whom, or who made the first move. None of that was important. Just having him here, his presence, that was happiness. Who cares who said it first? Howard, let's go watch the sunrise, I said, squeezing his hand. Outside the tent, the sun was slowly peeking over the clouds. The sunlight fell on Howard's face. He was still so handsome. But unlike my past life, this time, I was holding his hand tightly. I wasn't hesitating. Howard seemed to sense it. He stood there, frozen, not daring to move. The sun rose higher over the mountain peak, its light pouring down on us. The mountain breeze was gentle and comfortable. I let go of Howard's slightly sweaty hand, feeling the wind on my skin. I like you, Howard said, taking my hand again and looking straight into my eyes. I've liked you since the first time I saw you. I was afraid that if I confessed too soon, you'd think I wasn't serious about this. So I kept it bottled up inside, but I couldn't stop myself from trying to get closer to you. I was overthinking it. I was scared. I was scared you'd say no, that you weren't interested, that it was just a passing whim for you. I'm sorry. I was just thinking too much. It's okay. You can be honest with me now. Will you be my girlfriend? That's it? Right here on this mountaintop? I teased. Howard fumbled around and pulled out a ring. I made this myself, this ring. Will you? I looked at the familiar ring. In my past life, I chased Howard for a year, and I was the one who confessed in the end. It was so rushed, I didn't have a ring. I never expected that he would be the one to pull out a pair of rings, this exact pair. I remember wondering why he had them. So this was why. I held out my hand. I watched as he clumsily slipped it on. Whoa, the ring finger is for marriage. Howard got nervous and was about to move it to another finger. I pulled my hand back. Let's just leave it. I then took his hand and slipped the matching ring onto his finger. In the sunlight, the rings on our fourth finger sparkled. I took out my phone, saying I wanted to capture the moment, and started directing Howard on how to pose. It's so much more fun with an inexperienced guy. He does whatever you say, all cute and clumsy. After we got married, Howard became incredibly sharp. But this version of Howard blushed at the slightest teasing. Sometimes he was like a little kitten with its fur on end. I loved it. As I was busy taking pictures, a voice suddenly came from the side. Christina? What a coincidence. You're here too. I looked over. He looked familiar. My cousin? I suddenly remembered why I had chosen a college so far from home in my past life. It was all because of this cousin's meddling. We had been competitive since we were kids, even arguing about who could stretch a piece of bubble gum further. I never thought I'd run into him here, watching the sunrise. We definitely didn't meet here in my past life. It had been years since I'd seen him. Seeing his younger self was a little strange. I almost didn't recognize him. I instinctively started to pull my hand away from Howard's. I didn't want my cousin to tattle on me. But Howard didn't let go. In fact, he held my hand even tighter. Then it hit me. What was I so embarrassed about? I'm a 30-year-old woman. Am I really scared of someone seeing me holding hands? I glanced over at Howard and saw him staring thoughtfully at my cousin. A grin spread across my face. He misunderstood. Would he get jealous? A wicked idea popped into my head. Do you know him? Howard asked, a hint of jealousy in his voice. Yeah, I've known him for a long time. To be honest, he's the whole reason I came to this school. Because of him? Emicham, I replied, a smile playing on my lips. Yeah, he's a sophomore now, just like you. I basically followed him all the way here. You came here to chase him? Yep. And it wasn't easy, let me tell you. Surviving those hellish years of high school was no joke. With every word I said, Howard's expression grew more dejected. He looked like a sad puppy. I could practically see his tail drooping behind him. I mean, my cousin is a pretty amazing guy, just like you. Right, cousin? I said, draping my arm over Howard's shoulder. Let me introduce you. This is my boyfriend. Cousin? Well, little cousin. You work fast. Snagged our school's campus heartthrob already? My cousin made some small talk and then left, leaving behind a beet red Howard. Why didn't you tell me sooner that he was your cousin? I thought. You thought what? That he was the one I liked? Well, that's a shame. Because in this life and the last, I've only ever liked one person. I wonder who the lucky guy is, I said, twisting the ring on my finger. It's okay, Howard. We haven't known each other long. It's not enough time for you to be completely sure of my feelings. That's okay. I'll spend the next 10, 20 years, the rest of my life, proving that I love you. While I was teaching Howard how to pose, I managed to touch his hand a few extra times. He abruptly pulled his hand back, a blush creeping up from his neck. I took hold of Howard's hand again. The boy's knuckles were so beautiful. This time he didn't struggle, but his ears got even redder. Young Howard was no match for my teasing. He blushed at the drop of a hat. Not at all like the cool, composed man he would become. 30-year-old him would have enjoyed it. Sam walked by and saw us. He started catcalling. Is the missus taking pictures, or are you just copping a feel of Howard? Our big, tough Howard has turned into a blushing bride. Quiet, you. I'm busy comforting my boyfriend. Whoa, okay. I'll get out of your hair. Don't want to be a third wheel. Sam wisely made his exit. One after we made it official, I got my way a lot more. But that guy was a fast learner. It took him less than a month to go from blushing and looking away whenever I teased him to pinning my hands and leaning in for a kiss himself. I seriously suspected that Howard had regained his memories of his 30-year-old, slick self. How else could he be so smooth? One time, I heard him murmur in his sleep. Honey. I tried to probe him to see if he remembered, but he didn't. We dated like that for 2 years before we met each other's parents and got engaged. 2 years earlier than in our past life. And we cherished each other even more. I was surprised when I heard him call me honey. It wasn't that I wasn't used to it. It was that I hadn't heard that name in so long. I kind of missed it. After we graduated and got married. One time, after I'd teased him until he was red in the face, I said I was going to grab something. When I came back, I saw Howard hiding under the covers. I tried to pull the blanket off, but a hand shot out from underneath and grabbed my wrist. Honey, a low, husky voice said. Something felt a little off, but I ignored it and kept teasing him. Don't be shy, baby. Why don't you come out? Howard wrapped his arms around my waist. Honey, he kept murmuring. I realized what was happening. Honey? Howard hummed in response. You remember? Was it fun? Howard tossed a phone at me. On the screen was my notes app, showing the picture from our first date and the photo of the rings on our ring fingers when we made it official. Honey, I don't have any of these memories. I'm so pathetic. Are you kidding me? He's jealous of himself? Howard looked up, his gaze falling on the object in my hand. His handsome eyes narrowed slightly. Honey, if I remember correctly, I'm the one who taught you this move. Looks like you had a lot of fun, huh? Hee hee, I let out a dry laugh. So what? We've been married for years. Can't I? And another thing. I haven't even gotten even with you yet. We can settle the score later. Howard.